actually. It's 6 o'clock Montreal time. Um, it's not sunny today. It's rainy in Montreal. I don't know about you. It's the 49th day. C'est le 49e jour de quarantaine in Quebec. I hope everybody is safe, everybody is fine, and I hope we're going to do judo back again soon. J'espère qu'on va retourner au judo bientôt. Alors, before we start, little presentation. We're going to have with us the first president of Judo Ontario, first woman president of Judo Ontario, Aartje Sheffield. So I'm going to welcome her right away and insert her into our stream. Please welcome Aartje. Aartje, she will be there in a few seconds.
Thank you. How are you?
Hey, how are you, Aartje? How's everything in Ontario?
Everything is as good as can be expected, I think.
Yes, of course. Well, thank you very much for this chat with Pat number 5. We're worldwide famous here during this COVID-19. I'm joking. We're trying to have some discussion and some point of view of different level athletes. Last week we had the president of Judo Canada, Mike Tamura. So today we have the honor to have you, and we were going to ask you a lot of questions and also a quiz. Are you ready for the quiz?
I don't know about the quiz, but I'm ready for everything else.
Super. Okay, so before we start, normally my first question is always a question like, are you a dog or a cat person? But like I said, I insert sometimes some pictures, and I'm not going to ask the question, are you a dog or a cat? I'm going to ask, can you present us your friends?
Okay, so they are cat-sized dogs. Willie's the poodle, and then you've got Mitzi, Daisy, and Roxy.
So 4 dogs.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
So you must be busy right now with those little friends.
They're getting a lot of exercise. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, we can see that they're very well treated, I think. And were they disguised for Halloween that day?
Yes, it was our Halloween photo shoot.
Very nice. Well, that was the start of the day. And I know I have way more pictures to present. So,
oh no!
Can you? Of course. Can you, at the same time, since we're here, can you have a family?
Yes.
Family that is practicing judo, I would say. So I'm sure some people know them a lot in Canada, but can you present us your family in here today?
Okay, well, my husband, Steve Sheffield, he and I run a little judo club here in Stouffville. And then, of course, we've got our 2 daughters. On the left-hand side of the photo is Leah, and on the right-hand side is Tressa. Both of them are black belts and very accomplished judo athletes. So, yeah, we've been a judo family from the beginning and continue to be.
Continue to be, yeah. And when they were young, did they used to fight each other at home?
Well, they are 2 girls, close in age, so yes.
So we know Leah is working with us on basic daily time, and she's working at Judo Canada. So is there something we need to know or discover about Leah, since she's not there to say anything?
Well, I think that there's more to Leah than meets the eye sometimes. She's for sure.
All right. Well, we say hi to the whole family, and at the same time, we say hi to the Stephen Judo Club. I know I have a question later on about this, but and I will go back to this later on. You've been practicing judo. I've read this somewhere when you were 7. Is that right?
That's right.
That's right. So that wasn't at that time. I think you were probably younger at that time, right?
Yeah, I think maybe I was a little older than that.
Okay, so this was a picture of what you were like 4 or 5 years old at this time?
Maybe three.
3?
Yeah, 3 or 4. I was small.
3. I was gonna say you look pretty tall at the with that picture.
I don't think so.
No. Well, okay, 7 years old. Okay, so I think I have something that is waiting to get into the stream. But started at 7 years old. Where did you start your judo?
I started in Oshawa with Dan Dillon. He ran a little club in Oshawa, Dillon's Judo Academy. And I stayed with him until I was about 12, at which point they had to close the club down because the instructor was ill. And from there, I went to a number of different clubs. I traveled a lot to the clubs around the Oshawa area, and I finally eventually settled at Maple Leaf Judo Club with Leo Hansberger and Jim Walker.
Whoa. And why did you start judo?
That was my parents' choice. I think at the time I was being bullied at school, and they thought that it would be good for me to build some confidence and learn how to defend myself and that kind of thing. So, interestingly, I only had to go to a couple of classes, and once the word got out that I did judo, all the bullying stopped right then. Yeah.
Right away. Right
Yeah.
away. Well, I think many of us have been practicing judo for one of these reasons, eh? And some of us, I know, have been practicing because we were sometimes the one pushing and being too much of a action into and it helped us being more calm and to respect the others. So I think judo is good for both sides, right?
For sure.
So black belt, is it black, still black, the belts today?
Well,
What color would it be today?
today I have my Rokudan, uh, but I actually like to wear a black belt. I day to day I prefer to wear my black belt, although I do have a red and white belt as well.
Yeah, my kids, the first time I have to admit, first time my son practiced judo, and when he saw Sensei Nakamura with his belt, he asked me, he said, why does he wear a candy belt? I said, this is not a candy. Because he's used to suck those little candies, red and white. So I said, don't worry. And I taught him that. So anyhow, when did you got that Rokudan?
Uh, Goodness, about 7 years ago, I think.
7 years ago?
I think so.
And when you started judo, was it a goal to achieve this, or it just went through because of all your implication and everything you've been doing through your career?
No, I think when I started judo, I didn't even really know what the opportunities would be. I think that that's just something that evolved over time. Your goals change over the years. So, when I first started judo, I just loved it, and I just wanted to participate in every competition. And eventually those goals become bigger, and then they change over time as you change through your life. So,
I
yeah,
guess a lot of people, they start, and then after that they get I'll say they get addicted,
right.
and then it brings you to it runs your life after that, right?
Certainly does.
Um, at the time when you were doing judo, did you had a dream?
Well, I think when I was maybe 12, 13, 14, I think the usual world champion dream was there. I think every kid who's participating, once they start to participate at a high level, they think about, wouldn't it be nice to be on the podium at the world championships? Um, so I think that's pretty common and a pretty normal type of goal.
True. And during your career, I remember I read on your result and everything. I think during a world championship, you went to world championship in '89.
I went twice. I went once when I was 16, and then
Yeah.
I went again in '89.
And in '89, you ended up with seventh place, right?
That's right.
So how was the feeling of being there at that level and accomplishing this amazing result?
Well, I think you know that when you go to a competition like this, really there's only one person who's truly happy, and that's the gold medalist. But at the same time, I think it was nice to be able to stand with the others and receive a certificate. So I'm glad for that. You know, you always wish that it had been a little different and had gone a little better, but nevertheless, it was a good result for me.
Congratulations, actually.
Well, thank you.
Um, Besides judo, well, if you weren't involved in judo, who, in what would you be involved in today?
Well, I
Whoa, it seems like a tough question.
although I recently bought a bicycle, so I've been interested in road cycling. I find that's been enjoyable for me. I like yoga. I think that I would do more if I had more time. I have guitar I haven't picked up in a long time. An avid photographer. So there are a lot of things I would do more of.
And I know, well, Aartje is involved in judo, and we'll discuss a little bit more of this. But on a day-to-day basis, what do you do in life?
I work as a pharmaceutical sales rep. So I provide information and support for doctors, nurses, and pharmacists so that they can support their.
And actually, at this moment, is it are you like you work at home?
Yes, well, because of the current environment and to protect the safety of the community and the patients, we're all working from home right now.
Yeah,
So we still
it's
connect remotely and provide support where we can, and it's also a good opportunity for us to brush up on our clinical data and review our plans and that kind of thing.
yeah, I can tell. I'm on our side as well as Judo Canada. It's the time to do all the things that you were thinking of doing. And as per today, it's time to work on it. And yeah, our CEO Nicholas Gill is very, very. Um, have you had a hamster before, or you had a dog? But did you had a hamster before?
I think maybe when I was a kid, we might have had a hamster.
When they go in those little wheels and they start running and then they always turn and turn and turn and turn. I think that's what he has in his head. It's always turning
Right.
and turning.
Yeah.
Anyhow, you said you do bicycle, yoga, so you try other sports, right?
I played a couple of years in a women's recreational soccer team, which I enjoyed, both indoor and outdoor.
Yeah,
That was hard work, but fun.
true. Yeah, soccer. I've been working to soccer.
Yeah.
That's and inside the soccer, inside is different. Eh?
Oh, it's hard.
Yes, true.
Oh yeah.
I confirm. I confirm.
Uh,
How is it being a judo family? Like, we know that your husband has been doing judo, you did judo, two kids. So how is it? How did you teach your children? Did you coach them? With both parents being judokas, uh, what was it a requirement for the kids, or it's a
well,
global question?
I think the thing is, I think that most children and most people, if they're given the opportunity, would rather sit home and watch TV. So I think at a certain point, when the kids are young, you have to make some of those decisions for them. So they came to the judo club because that's what we did. In the summer times, they played soccer because that's what they did. And they didn't, I don't think that my girls knew they had a choice until much later. So they just kind of went with the flow because that's what we did. So,
So they followed.
yeah, they and I think they enjoyed it most of the time.
Oh, well, I'm sure they enjoyed, and one of them actually works still in judo full time. So he's forever in judo. Eh? You start one day, you stick to it for your life.
But
um, why did you get involved after being an athlete in judo?
I think it was just sort of a natural evolution. I think that, we had spent so much time, week training year over year that it just seemed like the natural next step. That a whole lot of thought really went into it other than just to continue with the lifestyle that we were used to.
It becomes a family.
Right. It becomes your social circle and just the thing you do. So.
And did you thought that judo would play such a big part in your life at that moment?
No, I had no idea really that it was going to go in that direction. So it's it just sort of evolves over time.
Over time.
Yeah.
You still actively do you still actively practice judo?
Oh yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. It doesn't hurt you in the morning?
Sometimes. That's why they make Advil.
True. And the club celebrated its 25th anniversary, the Sheffield Judo Club, on September 2017, right?
Yes.
What was the feeling of that day?
Well, I think you realize just how quickly time goes, and you don't realize when you start something like this that the time is going to go by so fast, and you just think back of all the hundreds of people that you've encountered over the years, and it's actually quite humbling, and it's a real good moment for reflection that time flies for sure.
Oh yes, and that's a lot of people have been telling me since I started chat with Pat, those glasses they have the reflection, and I said, well, I have to read my question, so I need my glasses. So time flies, it's true, and soon we need these. Well. Let's start the more judo question oriented because first we want to discover the woman, the mother behind the camera. And now we were going to talk a little bit more to the president of Judo Ontario.
Okay.
As president of one of the larger provinces with a large membership, what is one of the challenges that you face and what is your response to this challenge?
Well, I think with a province like Ontario, there are a number of challenges because it's a big province. One of them is just trying to pull everyone together and get everyone working together toward a common goal. I think that is a challenge and continues to be a challenge because you really want to get everyone. I mean, I think that if you've got everyone working towards the same thing, really accomplish great things. And so just trying to unite people and find commonalities between clubs and get all the clubs working towards the same thing. That's an important piece. And we've got some really successful clubs, and if they can share their successes and their keys to success with some of the smaller clubs, I think that the success breeds success. So that's the one piece of it. I think the other piece is also just the question of asset allocation. It's a big province. There are only so many dollars to go around. And we want to think about programming and delivering programs. We want to make sure that it's not just to the GTA. You try to think about the Northern Ontario and Northwestern Ontario and the East, and how do you reach these people and how do you provide them with value. And so those are some of the things that we're still working on, and I think that we can always do better, and we're always looking for fresh ideas.
Well, I have to admit that and just to confirm what you just said, I think that if first people realize that they work for children and for judo, just these two things is simple, and we hope everybody works in the same boat, of course. But it's not easy on every day. I have to confirm. What made you where did I switched to another question? I need to adjust my glasses. As a former high performance athlete and current referee, and provincial president. You have experienced judo from many perspectives. Judo has evolved. What changes do you think made the most impact or impacted you the most?
Well, I think one thing that's really changed over the last number of years is just the ability for digital communication. You know, the fact that we can sit up at midnight and watch something live streamed from the other side of the world, that we have social media, that we can share results in the moment, that you can get live time results, live time videos. You can have online learning, like what you're seeing, some virtual classes. I think that that's really been something that has helped not just judo, but all sports. But I know that it's a great opportunity for young judoka to be able to actually watch the world championships as they happen, for example, or Pan American Games. I think that now we no longer have to rely on mainstream TV media. You have access to all of these events, both live and recorded. I think that's a huge advantage for athletes who are trying to learn, for coaches who are trying to learn, and for referees.
Yeah, true. Well, we wouldn't have the chat with Pat if we didn't have that. There we go. What made you pursue the path of referee?
Well, I think it was a couple of things. I think that I had been coaching for quite some time, and my girls were no longer competing. So that gave me a little freedom to decide, you know, kind of what I wanted to do next. And I had also noticed that in Ontario, there were very few female referees, and I wanted to try to do something to change that and to bring in more women. So I thought, well, if I'm not willing to put myself out there and try it, then how can I expect other women to put themselves out there and try it? So it was a combination of things, and I thought, well, I'm just going to go for it, and hopefully it won't be a disaster. But I was really well cared for by the referee community in Ontario, and now it also nationally. So I've had a lot of wonderful support from my fellow referees as well as from coaches. So it's been very a good growth experience for me. Very enriching. I enjoyed it a lot.
Positive.
Sure.
What do you enjoy most about refereeing? And yeah, what do you enjoy most about refereeing?
Well, I think that it's a challenge, and I get almost the same little bit of adrenaline rush as I used to get as a competitor. I actually I can feel my, I can feel my inner tension a little bit, which I kind of like. It's a little bit of a, an adrenaline junkie type feeling. But also the community of referees it's a very nurturing community. They're very supportive of one another. And I think that ultimately, what I've learned is that referees really just want to make the right calls. They really just want to, and they take that responsibility very seriously. And they are human beings with feelings, and sometimes we make mistakes, but really ultimately our main goal is to see the right person win. And I think that that's has been a really important learning for me, having sat in the coach's chair for so long.
Yes. Well, we salute all referees across Canada. We hope they're safe. And we say hi. Bonjour à tous les arbitres à travers le Canada. We know, well, let's ask for the clubs and everything. What can clubs or provinces do to help encourage judoka to referee?
Well, I think the first thing starts at the club. Okay, so when the coach goes back to the club after a competition and they're reviewing how each athlete did during their matches, I think it's very important that every time that when an athlete loses, that the coach isn't communicating the fact that they believe the athlete lost because the referee made a mistake or the referee made a bad call. I mean, sometimes the athlete just lost because the athlete lost. I think in most cases the athlete earned that third penalty, and so I think that to always blame the third penalty on the referee, makes it so that athletes, when they hear that, they don't want to be that referee. They don't want to be those people. So not every, to blame all the losses on referees is a big injustice to referees. And it also, you can't have competition without athletes. You can't have competition without referees. So
True.
You want to create a viable pathway for athletes that maybe they want to referee instead of coach, then you have to stop doing that. And I think that is key.
Well, they just have to say to the athletes, attack. That's it. If you attack and you throw the person, there won't be any problem.
Well,
we know that. Women in judo. I know you're very active and proactive in the recruitment and in the promotion. How have the numbers changed when you first started judo to now?
To be honest with you, I don't really know what the numbers were like when I first started judo. I don't have access to that kind of data. I would suspect that the challenges we have now are not that different from the challenges that were back then. It's, I think sports of all kinds tend to lose athletes when they get to their teens, and they tend to lose girls more than boys. So that's not just judo, that's across all sports. So it's a challenge for everyone, but I think in judo, because it's a higher numbers of male participants, I think it might be even more of an issue.
True. Well, I know that at Judo Canada, there's a gender equity group, and they're working very hard, and Marie-Hélène is working hard with this.
Doing a great job.
I can't say that because I'm in conflict of interest, I would say. But I know that Marie-Hélène and Émilie Claude and Leah, they're working very hard, and they're looking for new programs and things. But this is not the subject. We're talking with the Ontario president. Judo Ontario and CAAWS. Tell us about this relationship that you created.
So we were selected by them. They're now going under they've rebranded as Canadian Women in Sport. And so we were one of 10 sports selected to partner with them last year. And what that gave us is we did an organizational audit, and we had a representative from the Canadian Women in Sport who went through the data with us. We did a survey that was done by all of our board members. Then we had a strategic planning meeting to review our audit as well as our own survey data. And from there, we worked towards sort of what are some goals for the organization. The first being that we needed to have a gender equity committee. And then the second being that we needed to have an actual gender equity policy and find ways to embed actual targets into all of our programs across the board. So that has been a really good first step for us, and they really helped us to kind of get organized, because these things just don't happen by accident. They take planning and take strategy, and so that kind of helped us to get started, and we're very pleased with that kind of work. And I think that big things will come of it. It's a work in progress, but I think that without having the policies in place, you're just at the whim of whoever has the passion for it in the moment. But you need to create lasting policies that will, continue over time.
Stay even though if the president of Judo Ontario is no longer Aartje Sheffield.
Exactly.
As a legacy of working, eh? True.
Yeah.
Well, this program and this way of working, I'm sure it is shared with other provinces, and I hope with the chat with Pat we'll get other provinces, if they're listening to it, that will be interested in developing and doing the same thing. So please stay tuned, because maybe I'll have questions and maybe I'll have people to link with you, because they will need help and your support to develop this.
I'm happy to help.
Well, I will keep you in touch. Um, where in judo would you like to see more of woman involvement?
Is that a trick question?
I don't know.
Everywhere, at every level, from participation at the age of 5 all the way up to board members, grading board members, black belts, coaches, referees, volunteers, everywhere.
It was not a trick question. It's, sometimes when people from the organization says it, it's like children. When a father and mother says something to their kids, nobody listens. But when it's said by somebody else, then sometimes people listen more. And it goes in and it stays in. It doesn't go through and go out. So it was not a tricky question. Um, Canada is a large country. Of course, we know that. It is very big. With each provincial president overseeing their respective provinces. How often do you meet or communicate with other provincial presidents? Do you share your knowledge, share experience, ask for advice?
Well, I think that that's one initiative that Judo Canada started recently that's been very helpful, and that was the President's Retreat to bring everyone together so that we share best practices. I think it only makes sense to do that because, for example, provinces like BC and Alberta and Ontario and Quebec have a lot of common ground that we should be not reinventing the wheel on every idea, and there's no reason why something that rolls out smoothly in BC couldn't roll out smoothly in Ontario and in Quebec. So I think it's something that I haven't done enough of in the past, but you know one another, and I hope to do more collaboration with the other provinces over time because I do think that we're working towards the same goal, and there's no reason why we can't share.
True. But we invite all provinces and every clubs to share what they do, and sometimes someone does something somewhere, but you don't know about it, and it's a real success. So, well, if we receive information, we'll continue to share it on the PTSO's Facebook account and make sure everything goes through. What judo experience would you like to share with other women to get them interested in judo?
Well, I mean, I think that I was lucky. I did a lot of traveling as a young athlete with team. You know, I think the first one I remember really was I was about 14 or 15 maybe, and we went with the provincial team to train in Great Britain with. So that was our first real exposure to high level training and my first real away trip with a team of women. And I think those kind of opportunities really ground somebody into a sport and they really create a passion. So I think if we can create opportunities like that, maybe on a smaller scale, for our girls, I think that that's something that they'll remember forever and that will carry them through and hopefully keep them in sport and bring them into leadership roles later. But I think that you need to create those opportunities for girls so that.
And to be able to connect with a family and create a group. And so cohesion and friendship and everything. And after that, they can stay in the system, I guess. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, where am I? Hey, my glasses are adjusted, but I need to make sure. Where? No, I already asked this question. Why should all provinces? That's not a tricky question. Why should all provinces have a women's gender equity committee?
Well, I think the thing is that it's all fine and good to say, oh, wouldn't it be good to have more women participating and wouldn't it be good to have more girls? But these things don't just happen. You don't just wave a magic wand and suddenly you've got more women. It takes planning and it takes thought And you need to understand that girls think a little differently than boys. You're going to need to do some different strategies.
Really?
Believe it or not, you're going to need to do different strategies. So I think it requires purposeful pursuit if you want to see it different. And the other thing to think about it, even from a business perspective, just look at this from a business perspective. If half the population is female, but only 20% of your club is female, that means you've got a 30% gap. And that could represent significant revenue to a province, to a club, to any organization. So it's not just about gender equity. It's also just plain business. It makes sense.
True. And if we think, as you said, as a business, if 30% out of the 50 is not your members, maybe you should ask yourself a question. Maybe we're not offering the right product or the right way. We're not delivering the right product in the right way.
Right. And I think that we need to be willing to think a little differently about how we do our programming. And like last year, Judo Ontario, we ran a judo gymnastics program. So we had a girls group, and every once a month they went to a gymnastics studio where there was a gymnastics coach that led them through sort of gymnastics core training exercises and stuff like that. So it was two parts benefit. The one benefit was that the girls were all together and they looked forward to it. The other benefit was that they tried something different and still improved their core strength and their physical. So you have to be willing to take some chances and try something and create some new opportunities in order to try to grow female participation, not just at the grassroots level, but all the way up.
True. Well, like you said, if you don't try, I remember I have a quote on a T-shirt that Blake Tsuki gave me. It says, "There's no such thing as try, just do." So or something like that. Yeah, true. As Judo Ontario president, as a referee, as a woman judoka, do you have judo goals set in each, or is it a global goal?
Well, I think that I'm always passionate about trying to draw more women into sport leadership, into leadership of judo. So that's always an ongoing goal. I'd like to see the number of female referees in Ontario increase. I'd like to see the number of female coaches in Ontario increase. We need more level 3 coaches, female level 3 coaches. We need more people on the grading board who are female. We need more board members who are female. So I think for me, that's always kind of an ongoing thing. I'd like to see that agenda go forward. I'd like to see a change to the head covering rule. Canada, that's another thing that's I'm passionate about, trying to be more inclusive and allow head covering at competition in Canada, because I think that there's a whole population of people that you leave out by not permitting it. And I think that there's certainly nowadays safe ways to accommodate that. And I think that we need to be more accommodating. And then for me personally, I think that I would have liked to have gone to the next level as a referee. But unfortunately, there are age restrictions and I've aged out, which I think is super unfortunate considering you can be the president of a country at 80, but you can't referee a match at 50. So I think that's something that I would like to see changed over time, but maybe not for me, but for someone else. And for myself, I think personally, I would like to eventually get my 7th Dan as a personal goal.
Well, you're in judo for a long time, another 25, 30 years.
There you go.
Hey, well, You know, you just said that you're looking forward to have more women involved in, boards, board meeting, not meeting, but boards. Well, it's I'm announcing to everybody across Canada. There's a call for volunteers and for people to get involved into Judo Canada, and we're calling the woman. Please raise your hands, and you can send your resume, and information to Judo Canada. Everything is on the website at First News. So people, please go and see, and we hope lots of women will get involved. And of course, we want people to be involved in clubs in September because with the COVID-19, we will need help and people for the clubs. What will be your Judo Ontario's president main legacy, you think?
Well, I think that we're operating from a financially stable place, and that's an important thing, and that we have a culture of continuous improvement, and that I think if that continues, that the board continues to look for opportunities to grow and develop, and not just settle back and say, yeah, we've done enough and we're good the way we are. Then I think that'll be an important thing, because I think that you need to have an attitude that there's always room to improve, to change, to grow, and that we shouldn't get stuck doing things the same way all the time just because that's how they've always been done. So if that culture can change from an organizational management perspective, I'd be very pleased with that.
Um, Following this answer, it's not a tricky question. We're asking, and we're always looking for involvement in, of course, women and the people that have dedication and passion to judo. So my next question is a personal question. Do you have aspiration to Judo Canada presidency?
Well, that remains to be seen. I think we have to take one step at a time.
One step at a time. Okay. Okay. We're just asking. It's just a chat with Pat. We're just asking some question. But we know that there's maybe an interest.
Maybe.
Thank you. Now we're going to the team that you were waiting for, Aartje. I'm sure you were waiting for this time. It's the
Yeah,
Do You Know Your Judo?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
We'll find out. Well, I've been trying to be, I'm not going to say I've been nice because the question won't be easy.
Okay.
I've been looking for questions that are mainly in Ontario.
Okay.
Oh, maybe
All
you
right.
maybe you don't want to talk to me anymore after this. Well, normally I have with me my phone, and I can make noise. I don't know if you can hear, when you answer right, it goes. Was easy. Sometimes the answers are like this, or I'm sure I'm not going to use this one. No, no, no. I use this one for Antoine Varafortier, so it's okay. It's okay. I won't do that. Okay. Are you ready?
I guess so.
All right. So it's a three-part question for the first
Oh
one.
no. Okay.
Ah. Judo Canada, previously known as the CKBBA, Canadian Kodokan Black Belt Association, or I think that's it, opened its first office in Ontario. Question one. In which year?
Uh, 1975.
Oh, close. 1977. So, it's good. It's good. I clap.
What-
I clap. I clap. In which town?
Toronto.
Vanier.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Alan Vanier.
Ottawa.
Yeah. And who served as the first executive director?
Of Judo Ontario?
At the first office in Ontario of Judo Canada.
Ontario Judo Canada Executive Director. Frank Atashta?
No, it was Claire Potvin.
Claire Potvin. Okay.
That it was easy. Yeah, so I'm not going to use this. I'll be next. But now it's tricky and tricky. Maybe you won't like me after this one. First woman black belt in judo in Canada was from Ontario. What's her name?
Oh, I met her. Oh, I actually met her, and I can't remember.
Maybe I can give you a help.
Okay.
I would say the first name, Hélène.
No, I don't remember.
McCrossen.
Yeah, I met her too, actually. I just couldn't remember her name.
It's okay, but now you remember, I'm sure. In which year?
Oh, 1975.
59.
19 what?
1959.
59. Holy smokes. Okay. 1959.
And from which club? That's easy. You can do it. You can do it. He's a sponsor. Huh?
Natashta's.
Oh, there we go. I can use it. Yes. That was easy. Yes. Yay. Okay. Now linked to your passion for refereeing.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Okay.
This is the good part. This is the good part. Women were allowed as referees in judo starting in.
Hmm. I 1972.
Yay! Congratulations!
Oh,
at, the, at the time, they could only referee during girls' tournament. Can you believe? Me, when I read this, I'm like, no, 1972. And in 1974, during a provincial tournament, women were finally allowed to referee during the men's competition because of a lack of male referees.
of course.
Of course.
What else?
I'll say no comment on this one. All right, it's done. We did it. You went through it. Yay! Now it's the three last question before we end up this interview. Wishes from the president. In September 2021, recruitment of new and old members might be hard this coming up season. During this time of isolation, with the thoughts of a stronger together, any advice to other judo clubs, coaches, judo parents, association? You have a message, a strong message to send us.
Well, I think that we need to be mindful of keeping communities safe and make sure that we are compliant with government and health authority regulations. But assuming that things are returning back to normal by September, I think it's important. I think the role of sport and the role of judo is very important. And so, if your child was doing judo before, really important to try to get them back in there and get them back involved in their usual activities so that we can return to sort of change the whole rest of our lives. I think that it's important for people to, once it's safe to do so, support your local clubs, get your kids back in, volunteer again, participate in competitions, do all the things that you would have been doing prior to this, once we have the all clear, of course.
Sure. Thank you. Any advice for those who wish to become Judo Ontario's president?
If you want to become the Judo Ontario president, I think you need to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, because it really is, you really do need to be looking to advance sport, and you need to love the sport. It takes a lot of time, but you do get a lot of rewards from it, so you've got to make sure that your reasoning for being there is right. And
Right.
you need to be prepared to make difficult decisions where not everyone's going to be happy. So you've got to be pretty comfortable with the idea that sometimes you're going to have to make a decision and not everyone's going to like it. And you can only make so many people happy at a time. And I think that that's a difficult one for a lot of people. So.
Well said. Couldn't say better. And last one. For those wanting to do more for judo at the provincial level, who can they contact? Judo Ontario directly?
Absolutely. If they want, they can contact on our website. We have a contact list of all the board members as well as our staff. You can contact anyone, and we're always happy to accept volunteers, particularly if you have an area of interest. If you're interested in policy, if you're interested in coaching, if you're interested in, administrative type work, we're always welcoming volunteers. So please just contact anyone, and we'll try to make sure that we find something that's a fit for you.
Super. Well, Aartje, it is done. We've done the interview. You went through it like a professional.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for your presence tonight. I'm sure people have learned a lot, and I hope a lot of people will be writing Eat Judo Ontario and giving their time. I'm sure you need help and you need support, not only in the clubs, but at the provincial level. Judo Ontario, all the members, say hi to everybody. Canada, again, I always say the same thing before I end up this interview. I say, in the name of all Judo Canada, please, folks, stay home, stay safe, and stay strong.
Absolutely.
It's very important. So, Aartje, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I will let you go to your or work or time to whatever. And anytime, anything, you know where to reach and to contact us. But again, thank you so much, and we'll see each other, I'm sure, soon on the mats.
Thanks so much. Take care. Bye, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.